Hello, everyone. Okay, how you all doing? Hope we are having a wonderful January. Hope you are having a wonderful day. Um, sometimes last year I started a series on the 12 mistakes so that you should avoid when buying a piece of property. So I started picking each of the mistakes one after the other based on popular demand, and I started explaining them in a video, short videos to explain them better and better and better. So I had to pause after the first one. So today I'm continuing on the teaching of the 12 mistakes. So we've done the purpose. I think the purpose was in two parts, so you can watch them um, in our previous videos. So just check purpose, mistakes, how to avoid the mistakes of purpose. Okay. So in this particular today, I will be looking at how to avoid the budget mistake. Okay, so I'll define budget and I'll ask some critical questions that will help you to avoid the budget mistakes, and that will be a wrap. Okay, so my name still remains Ope Oluwa Odni, your real estate wealth creation and retention coach. Okay, I'm the cash flow king. I help you to make money with real estate and help you to create and retain wealth using real estate. So let's look at the budget mistakes. A lot of people buy property, and often when we look at real estate, land is where the value is. There is no technology that will make you to go and sleep on water. There's no technology that will make you to sleep in the air. There's no technology that will make you to sleep in the cloud. Okay, and you cannot sleep online. So land is still the most valuable thing when it comes to real estate. Okay, so and especially in Nigeria, there are quite a number of mistakes people make when they are trying to buy a piece of land, because there are so many challenges that we have. Lack of regulation, government policies, and all of that are there. Policies, protection of the land, notorious or muniles, and all of those things. So I've put together 12 mistakes and more, of course, 12 mistakes and more that you can basically avoid when you are buying a piece of property. So today I'm going to be narrowing the focus down to budget. Okay, so budget is setting how much you are ready to set aside for property purchase, and also how you intend to fund the purchase. Okay, I'll repeat that. But I remember that I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, a white guy, and I was telling him that, so we were having a conversation now, and he shared his experience, so I was sharing my experience too. I said, initially I thought it was only in Nigeria that maybe your wife wants to help you to buy something, and she's asking you what's your budget. And for him, he said his wife wanted to help him to get something, and he told the wife the budget, and he rounded up the statement by the fact that he's ready to fund, he's going to be funding that budget with the wife's savings. And the wife screamed. Okay, to our wives, and some of our wives are even professors and PhD holders. So for them, they should understand that when we are talking about budget is actually the money making and money spending plans. For them, it's just about how to spend the money. Like one of my mentors will say, you do not need any giftings to spend money. It is an inherent bond. It's inborn for us to spend money. Okay, so budget is setting how much you are ready to set aside for property purchase. That's why most of the time when um, liquid available cash for people are not much, because the necessity has squeezed out all the cash, and it's always very difficult for people to be able to buy property, build houses, and all of those things. Okay, so I'll repeat, budget is setting how much you are ready to set aside for property purchase, and also how you intend to fund it. So it's not just about I want to spend 50 million, 50 million is my budget because you have 50 million in your savings. No, 50 million is your budget only if you can demonstrate to us that this is how you intend to fund it. Okay, one of my friends wanted to buy a property about 120 million, and wanted to use mortgage to buy it. So for every property we were getting for him, then all he was doing is how can I use mortgage to fund this project? How can I use mortgage to fund this project? How can I use mortgage to fund this project? Okay, so budget is setting how much you are ready to set aside for the property and how you intend to fund it. Okay, so that is basically the budget. So how much do you want to buy the property? After you have determined the purpose, the next thing is budget. So how much do you, let's say you want to buy a piece of property for land banking. So how much are you looking at setting aside for the land bank? It is not the amount the marketer is telling you they are selling land. Okay. So what are the critical questions to ask? What are the critical questions to ask? Number one, do you have savings to fund this acquisition? This fund, do you have a savings? Because that's where most of the time we fund the while we want to acquire a property, acquiring a property, we usually fund it from our savings. So the question is that do you have a savings? And you see, your ability to answer all these questions will determine whether you are even ready to go and buy the property or not. Because you can enter into a property purchase, develop a payment plan, and there is no practical step on how to fund this payment plan, and it usually leads to disaster. Okay. Number two is that have you considered all associated costs? Have you considered all associated costs such as documentation, possession, and occupation? It comes with cost. That's why I say, all these estate people, they are hidden costs and all of those things. No, it's not as if they are hidden costs. You don't buy a car and you start driving it the day you buy a car. They are documentation. You don't buy a land and pack it inside your pocket. So basically, documentations are rights, bundles of rights that you have on that piece of property. So it is very, very important that you pay attention to the issue of documentation. So you need to associated costs. A lot of associated costs are usually acquiring properties generally. Okay. Number three is that do you have access to mortgage, to finance, or you intend to source other means to finance the project? I have a video on how you can finance the project, part 1 and 2, so you can probably watch that. It will help you, guide you on how you can access and how you can finance all the financing options that are really available. Okay, so the question is that do you have access to mortgage? Do you qualify for mortgage? What will even make you to qualify for mortgage? So these are critical questions that you need to ask, because if you don't ask this question, eventually it will play out that you get stuck. That's basically it. So what other means of financing are you looking at? So are there going to be an installmental payment plan? Is it creative financing? Are you planning to sell a piece of property to buy this property? I remember we were dealing with a family. Their father passed on. He left them some massive property, and because there were 13 of them, the sense of ownership was not there for all the 13 people and all of that. There's a proverb that says that our team is different from my team. So what I concluded on doing is to sell the whole property and buy blocks of flat for each of the 13 of them. So that gives each person a sense of responsibility. Okay, so what they did to acquire the block of flat was basically selling a property to finance the other property. So those are some of the things that you need to consider when you want to buy a property. So number 4 is that do you have an emergency fund in case of any unexpected eventualities? You operate in Nigeria, you are based in Nigeria, a lot of things are not structured. That's why a lot of Nigerians in diaspora usually have problem with Nigerian real estate space. Eventualities, things happen that you do not plan for. Too many things happen that you do not plan for. The same way Nigeria is unstable, the political space is unstable, the same way issues happen that you do not plan for. Okay, so question number 5. So still on number 4 is that there's always going to be need for you to have an emergency fund so that you fall on, because sometimes you can be rich in assets and not be rich in cash, and 5,000 naira, 1 million naira can mess up your integrity. So please pay attention to that. Number 5 is what are the close substitutes to you buying that property? So you can put it this way: what can take the money from you? So what are the close substitutes to you buying that property? Or what are the close substitutes? So for instance now, for anybody that wants to buy a piece of land, another close substitute is for the person to buy a car. So you need to have that understanding, because you see, most of the time we ask ourselves, where does my money go to? Where does my money go to? But we don't pay attention to close substitutes. Okay, you want to pay rent. There are other things that are demanding for your money at every point in time. So if you don't have agenda for your money, others will create agenda for your money, and it will look like there's canker worms and worms that are eating up your money. Okay, so those are the 5 questions I want you to consider. So for what you know, before any property, you must have a steady cash flow. Before buying any property, you must have a cash flow. That's side note number 1. So steady cash flow is very, very important. Your kind of money must not be a one-off thing. It's not that you see money once in a while. No, it doesn't work that way. Okay, your property should not serve as an emergency fund or a call account that you turn to during challenges. So when you are buying a piece of property, that property is not okay, because this happens a lot when people want to relocate. They quickly run to it. I want to sell my property. I want to sell my property. Oh no, it doesn't work that way. So anybody that is desperate to sell will always lose out. So your property is not an emergency fund, right? It's not an emergency fund. Don't always fall back on it. I need to sell this property. No. See, if you don't have that property, even if you don't buy the property, you spend the money eventually. And that problem that looks like it's not going to go away until you sell that property will eventually not go away after selling that property. Right? There is always going to be another means. So don't just block your mind and focus all your energy on that one property that you're supposed to have and it's supposed to be growing. Okay? So kindly avoid the mistake of budgeting. So do proper budgeting. Check out the market and examine how you want to finance your project. So my name still remains Ope Oluwa Oni. Okay, do like, do share, do watch other videos and comment. Thank you very much and have a great one.